Modern philosophy of mind relies on a very specific starting point. We assume that physical matter is the absolute bedrock of reality, and our conscious experience is a secondary phenomenon we struggle to anchor within that physical framework. We treat physics as the secure foundation, but our deepest physical theory, quantum mechanics, is a fractured mess. Physicists are scattered across half a dozen competing interpretations, like the Copenhagen view, which suggests reality is determined by observation, or objective collapse theories, which argue that physical thresholds force a single outcome. The physical world at its microscopic base is the thing we actually understand the least. Contrast that theoretical chaos with the one truly secure piece of data we possess. You can doubt the reliability of your senses, or even the laws of logic, but you cannot coherently doubt that you are experiencing this exact moment. Your conscious experience is irreducible. This epistemic asymmetry points us toward a different approach, called the reverse inference. Instead of starting with a broken physical theory and asking where consciousness fits, we take consciousness as the undeniable fact and use it to constrain the boundaries of physics, demanding that a perfectly verified observation bend to fit an uncertain, contradictory mathematical framework gets the scientific method completely backward. The rational move is to let the secure data fix the broken model. When you assume the physical world must be the undisputed starting point, materialism becomes the default stance by definition. Under this rule set, the mind has to earn its right to exist, usually by being demoted to an inactive byproduct of brain chemistry, a concept known as epiphenomenalism. This creates a deeply uneven playing field. We excuse the massive structural gaps in our quantum models, yet demand extraordinary justification for the idea that conscious experience might play an active role in reality. Standard models rely heavily on the principle of causal closure, the strict assumption that every physical event has a purely physical cause. By adopting this rule before the investigation even starts, the argument is artificially sealed against consciousness having any real influence. Writing off human consciousness as a passive illusion simply to protect an incomplete physical theory is an act of philosophical bias, not empirical science. Flipping this dynamic and letting observation dictate theory is exactly how science has historically solved its hardest problems. Take the 19th century. The macro-level laws of thermodynamics, like the rules that entropy increases and heat flows from hot to cold, were proven definitively in the lab long before anyone understood the microscopic physics behind them. When scientists later developed statistical mechanics to explain atoms, those new theories were strictly bound by the thermodynamic data. If a microscopic model didn't reproduce the established rules of heat and entropy, it was thrown out. We see the exact same pattern with the discovery of discrete spectral lines in hydrogen. Researchers precisely measured these distinct visual frequencies emitted by elements well before we had a working model of the atom. Niels Bohr's atomic model succeeded specifically because it was built to accommodate those undeniable spectral measurements. The raw phenomenon constrained the theory. Consciousness belongs in the exact same category as heat exchange and stellar spectra. It is a secure primary dataset, and it should dictate the acceptable boundaries of our physical theories. Applying this reverse inference to quantum mechanics yields specific consequences. If consciousness genuinely selects among quantum possibilities, then that selection is a real physical event. This entirely eliminates many worlds interpretations, which argue that every possible outcome simply splits off into its own separate parallel universe. This necessitates that the physical world remains ontologically open at the microscopic level. No hidden physical variables predetermine the outcome from behind the scenes. The Born rule calculates quantum probabilities, acting as the precise interface between mind and matter. Physics provides a constrained menu of options. Consciousness executes the final selection. This measurement problem marks the physical boundary between structural possibilities and actualized reality. You might wonder if this implies rocks and atoms are conscious. It does not. Before complex neural interfaces evolved, objective physical mechanisms like gravitational thresholds or spontaneous localization handled the collapse of quantum states. Consciousness simply modulates that collapse in systems capable of housing it. We are left with a coherent picture of our current science. Standard physics is incredibly successful, but structurally partial. It can perfectly map the architecture of endless possibilities, but it is mathematically blind to the spark that makes reality actual.